This time I'm going to teach you how to knit a face mask extender. Hey, it's Denise from loom.com. For a complete list of supplies and more information, be sure to visit the website. Alright, let's begin with a single strand of worsted weight yarn. I'm going to attach it to the anchor peg using a simple knot. You can use a slip knot if you're more comfortable. And then we're going to wrap 12 pegs. Now I'm going towards the right. You can go to the left. Direction does not matter with this pattern. Once you reach peg 12, you're going to turn around because we're knitting flat and lay the working yarn over the existing loop. Take the bottom loop over the top and knit off. Now you're going to have a funky little loose portion. Just pull on the working yarn and bring that knot close to your peg, and that'll tighten that up. And then you're going to take the working yarn back around in front of peg 12, and again go ahead and do a flat knit. And we're knitting flat and we're going in the opposite direction, so now you're going to knit peg 19 and all of the rest of the pegs in the row until you're back at row 1. Once you're there, you're done with your cast on. You can also use the U-wrap version of the knit stitch. Now you're ready for rows 1 through 21, where you will knit 2, purl 1, knit 6, purl 1, knit 2. Alright, let's go ahead and knit those 2 knit stitches. And here I'm using a U-wrap. So to do that, you just half wrap your peg and knit off. And then we're ready for the purl stitch right here. So take that working yarn and you're going to put it under the existing loop. From the top, you're going to scoop up to create a new loop. Take that old loop off the peg and place the new loop where the old loop was, right here. And then take your working yarn and pull on it to tighten the stitch. Now you're ready for 6 knit stitches. And again, remember that we're using the U-wrap if you want to, or the flat stitch. So knit those 6 knit stitches. And then you're ready for the purl. Again, place the working yarn under the existing loop. And with your hook, scoop up that working yarn and create a new loop. Then take the old loop off the peg, put the new loop on the peg where the old one was, and pull the working yarn to tighten the stitch. Now you finish with those 2 knit stitches, and there you go. That's your row, and all you have to do is repeat this row 20 more times. You did row 1, so now you just need to repeat it 20 more times for a total of 21 rows. So 2 knit stitches, 1 purl, then 6 knit stitches and 1 purl, and then 2 knit stitches. And that's it, guys. You just keep knitting that same row over and over again. Oh yeah, and after 3 or 4 rows, don't forget to take the knot off the anchor peg. After you're done with those 21 rows, you are ready for the cast off, and this is done over 2 pegs. So we're going to start, and the first 2 are a little different in that you're going to knit off those 2 pegs. So we'll call them peg 1 and peg 2. So here I knit off peg 2, and then I take the loop off that peg and I bring it over to peg number 1. And I tighten my loop. So you're putting it right over the existing loop, take the working yarn and tighten it, and then knit off. And then you take the loop off of that peg, peg 1, and you move it over to peg 2. Now your cast off of peg 1 is done. And then here's where things change now. You're only going to knit off the second peg. So I'm knitting off peg 2, and then I'm taking the loop off peg 2, and I'm moving it over to peg 1, tighten the working yarn, and then knit off peg 1, and you're going to take that loop off that peg, and you're going to move it over. And now there's 2 pegs that have no loops, and this is what you're just going to keep doing. All right, so you're going to knit off the second peg, because remember we're working this over 2 pegs, and then you're going to take the loop off that second peg and bring it over to what we're calling now peg 1. You get a new peg 1 every time you cast off. So I knit off peg 1, and then I'm going to take that loop and move it over, and so there's another cast off. And you see that I did a knit stitch where we were knitting purls, because we're only going to be doing knit stitches in order to complete the cast off. I also want to thank my special patrons that cover closed captioning. If you don't see closed captioning right this second, it could be in the process. Just come back in a few minutes and it should be fine. Thank you, Carol, Penny, and Clarissa. Okay, first things first. You're not imagining things. The yarn did turn blue. I lost the clip and I had to make it up with this second project. It'll turn back to green, so don't get distracted. All right, we're on our last 2 pegs, and we're going to go ahead and knit off peg 2. And then once we knit off, then you're going to take that loop off the peg, move it over to peg 1, which is your last peg, and tighten that stitch really nice, and do that throughout this cast off. Knit off, and then take that last loop off the peg, and now your project is off the loom. Take your scissors and cut off the excess yarn, and then take that tail and feed it through that last loop and tighten it in order to create a knot and secure your project. All right, now you need to stretch your stitches, and this is very important in order to shape the project. The fabric needs to be stretched. All right, and you're going to see some really loose loops from the cast on, and I don't want you to panic. I'm going to show you how to fix this, and in fact I'm going to show you a new trick I haven't shown you before, at least I don't think so. So don't worry about it, and it's especially easy to do with this cotton yarn which I'm using, and I'm using cotton because it's good to use that in order to wash this in hot water. All right, so here we are on the end that has the cast on string. So undo the knot from when you secured the yarn, and then you see this edge right here, this tip on the edge. If you pull on that little loop right there, you'll see where the yarn pulls, and you're going to do something a little scary, but trust me, go ahead and pull that string out of that loop, and there it is. It's free now, which is where folks usually get stuck. And then come to the other end, and you're going to pull on those loose loops. Now let's go back to my original one so I can show you again. Here is that little corner edge, right there, that little knot. Just loosen it up so that you can pull your string from the cast on. You see how you can pull on it? You can just go ahead and pull it all off, or leave it there for now and come back later and pull it out. Either way, that's fine. But that's where everybody usually gets stuck, and so don't worry about it. Don't panic. You can just pull it out of the loop and it's going to be fine. Or leave it just until you're done pulling on your loops, and then go to the other end, and that is where you start pulling on your loose loops. Don't do it from the edge where your drawstring is, right? Do it from the other end, and then just start pulling on those loose loops. And now you're ready to weave in your ends. Okay, let's start with a crochet hook and one of the tails that's on the top. And right from that tip, you're going to go ahead and weave it in through one of those top loops. And I usually go in about 1 or 2 of those top loops. And then I turn to the opposite back side and start weaving in the opposite direction. And the one good thing is that you can fix any mistakes that you have with this strand of yarn as you weave in. So if something looks a little loose, looks a little off, when you're weaving in the end, you can actually fix some of your boo-boos, right? And then I'll usually go down a few stitches and then turn around and come in the opposite direction, because I feel that that helps to secure things in better. And then I get my scissors and I cut it off. And that's one side. Now just do the other side. Then you're ready to add your button. And personally, I like to let them know that it's handmade, because love goes into handmade. And so my button sends that bit of a message. All right, so I get a needle that will fit through the holes of my button, and I got an extra strong thread. And now with that needle and that thread, I'm going to actually sew at least 4 or 5 times, because like I said, this is going to be put into some hot water, and you want everything to be nice and secure and that your button's not going to come off. So with that in mind, make sure that you add a few layers, right, that you sew a few times, and then you want from the back to go ahead and secure your button. So make a knot, and then that's it. Your mask is done once you add your second button.